Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Jim Bellacera, and I'm sitting with a very dear friend of mine, Jeff Bakerink. And Jeff and I actually go back about 7 or 8 years now. And I met Jeff because of his background, his expertise, and experience in the industry that I'm passionate about. And the thing that I've learned about Jeff is that he's a very passionate person, and he knows I tease him that he's kind of a negative optimist, but he's one of those guys that no matter what he does it all the way. He puts his heart and soul into it. And I think that's one of the things that attracted me to want to work with Jeff on a professional level. Yeah, but what I'd like to talk about here, Jeff, is why are you so passionate? Why are you so driven? And I know that you've done a lot of different things. You're a consultant in the network marketing industry. You're an attorney. You've worked with a lot of people as a mentor and coach. Why are you so driven? Talk to me.
I think it has a lot to do with my growing up, my background, and my experiences as a young child. And something got in me early on in life that I recognized that we only live once. And it's so important to me to recognize that I can impact some people's lives in ways that I could never do in other aspects or capacities in other types of venues. And so I guess in a nutshell, it's all about, for me, trying to make a lasting impression to reach out to help somebody wherever I can.
Okay, you're a dreamer.
Yes.
End of story.
Yes.
I know that for a fact because you've given me lots of phone calls over the years, and you've talked to me passionately about things that you believe in. What's the motivation behind the dream you believe that you can achieve? Talk to me about that.
Well, again, it's like I think it grew up a lot from, or comes from, growing up and being told that I wasn't ever going to amount to anything, and that
Are you talking about from your parents?
No, not from my parents. Just from my the neighbors and kids in the neighborhood and stuff. It's like I was almost like the guy that was never supposed to make it out of the hood, so to speak. And being that instilled, it always seemed like nothing ever came easy for me. I always had to fight and scrap and scrape, and I recognized at a very early age, that's part of what it takes to become successful, is just hanging in there and not giving up and being relentless on achieving an objective. And actually, whatever it is, that you see it through to the end.
Something else about you that you're very strong about and very adamant about, and that's your faith.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about that?
Well, quite frankly, I lived most of my life without any experience to God. My parents always thought that it was a very, very important decision that a person has to make in their life in terms of their faith. And so as a consequence, I grew up without a whole lot of exposure to God. And I lived a life that was very full in many ways, but there was a lot of emptiness inside. And it wasn't until I was just pushing 40s, late 30s, that I came to accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And
now, this is not a Christian show. I'm just, the reason I'm bringing this up, Jeff, is because you are very faithful. And I know that's part of who you are. And so I just wanted the viewer, because everybody has their own faith. But go ahead.
Well, I personally believe that all roads lead back to Jesus Christ. And that we get wrapped up in our day-to-day life. And sometimes, the best of us will forget that. And we live in a real world. And there's a real world of people out there hurting. And I think that the best thing that we can do as believers is to show people the love of Jesus Christ.
By the way, I agree with you.
I know you do. I know you do. And so that actually has, in many ways, shaped me in ways that I probably wouldn't have been looking at things that same way. I think I had, God put in me the things that God put in me, whether they're gifts or talents or whatever you call them, to really help people recognize what those gifts might be inside themselves. They may be completely different. They may be 180% different from what they even thought they were. But I've seemed to have had the ability to reach out and touch people in ways that help them recognize that process, and the fact that there's a God that loves them, that there's a caring God, that there is a plan in your life, and Jesus Christ is that plan. And
how does that affect your thought process in terms of being a dreamer, ambitious, and all those other things? I'm curious, just because I have the opportunity to ask you these questions. I'd like to know how you think about it.
I think in a lot of ways I look out at life and people in general, and I see a lot of despair and a lot of fear. As we get older in life, we've become masters at denying the obvious in a lot of different ways. And we become challenged in ways that we learn to step behind ourselves and that blanket of fear. And my faith has taught me that I can accomplish everything in life that I ever want to through Jesus Christ. And so knowing that God, the creator of the universe, is for me, and recognizing that nobody can be against me, that's been very, very meaningful for me, particularly in the last several years of my life when there's been a lot of challenges and a lot of things that come into play and recognize, wait a minute, I don't have control of these things. And so that when things get tough and things get very, very difficult, and you think that there's nobody out there and you can't go the distance any longer, the recognition that Jesus, went to the cross over 2,000 years ago for us, that there's a love there that shines through every day, and I hope to get better in my walk and in my faith, to have that shine through every relationship and every person and everything that I do and say.
Well, I just want you to know from the last 7 or 8 years that we've been friends that it's really been an honor and a pleasure to be able to do this interview with you.
Wow.
I just want you to know that. I'm
very humbled to share the video here with you, Jim. I mean, a lot of those things that we just discussed, I saw in you from the moment I met you, so I want to thank you as well.
Thank you.